Listen, some of us get into relationships and let ourselves go. Go look at yourself naked. If you don't like it, fix it. Because, guys are going for younger girls and so on and so forth. Why are they going for the younger girls?
Do you feel like it made you a better person having gone through that?
My marriage changed me. You know, and marriage, I firmly believe marriage is supposed to change you. Bro, this is a deep ass conversation. The more I'm thinking about it, it's like the emotions are like revving up, you know,
along the line.
Two to tango.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if there's infidelity, it takes 3 or more.
I have to say, I really appreciate you for sharing that, because sometimes we don't necessarily hear the man's perspective of what it was like to go through a breakup.
Deal with them.
Did you consider yourself a quality man? Like, I don't like stupid stuff, yeah, like, oh, he texts me but I can't respond yet because otherwise it will look too desperate. You know what, yeah, I like you. Like, oh my gosh, that's really frightening to me. Your list that you had, this checklist for this man that you wanted, you have to cross some things off. That's another thing that we need to know how to do, how to attract a particular type of man that we want.
What do they think?
Huh?
That friends have such chemistry.
Do we have chemistry?
We have chemistry.
Yeah.
Chemical balance.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Sometimes it doesn't balance though. Sometimes you're annoying me. Back at it again. Back at it like a crack at it.
Oh gosh.
Alright, well, you don't know some American sayings.
Some American slangs.
Slangs and tangs.
Slangs.
Make sure I look very sharp in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? So that when my potential girlfriend is out there, de la uno spoil my nuggets. Since she's playing hard to get, she didn't like my chocolates.
Oh.
Anyways.
Hey. Don't follow this guy, please. If you follow him, he'll lead you to the wrong path.
I'll lead you to greener pastures.
You're a joker.
All right, now what we talking about today?
So welcome back to
Yes,
More to
indeed.
Love.
It's More to
With-
Love. Biggs Almighty, the one and only.
I didn't even say your name on the last video, did I?
They already know who I am. Come on, man.
they
I'm
already
he
know.
who should be named.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You see me, you feel me.
Trying to do slick talk.
Slick talk. Hey. Yeah, smiling so hard. You like the slick talk.
Oh,
Hey.
please. It doesn't work on me. I'm
It doesn't-
immune. It doesn't work on
Anyways,
you.
like my potential girlfriend out there. Don't let this girl. don't worry about her. She's not serious.
Yeah, is that what it is? We're talking about dating like later on, like after 30. And what that's like.
Hold on. Let me tap into my inner Kevin Samuels.
Now you already had some people unsubscribe because of that. Thanks a lot.
Come on, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
So the reason I thought this would be a really good topic is because I think as a lot of us mature, you know, the dating scene has changed quite a lot.
It's horrible.
And I mentioned on the video before that, you know, having come out of a long-term marriage and going back into the dating world, it was a complete shock to my system to see how much things have changed. And so I think it's something that we should talk about, like what it is like dating after 30 and, you know, just having some discussions around it.
You know me, and I'm going to be pretty redundant about this. It's all about, again, if you have done the inner work, right? If you're coming from a previous relationship, if you have sorted yourself out and really assigned the faults where they belong, right? All right, this is his fault, or this is her fault, and this is my fault, right? And this is what this is either who I am and I'm okay with this person and I don't want to change, or you know what? I do want to change because I want to be a better person. Because that's one thing about us human. It's never too late to change. Like that whole theory about teaching an old dog new trick. We're not dogs. We're human beings. It's never too late for us to change. So if we don't like who we are, and we want to better for ourselves, then let's work on self-improvement. Now, once you work on self-improvement, again, don't go doing the old things or don't go looking at the old places that you were looking for person. Like, all right, it's okay. Create a list. Make sure it's realistic though, all right? Don't be on this 6 foot, 7 foot, you know, 7-figure nonsense. Like, hey, dating your tax bracket or look for, like, again, as you get
You've
older.
said so many things there. Like I don't want you to like brush over them
Okay.
because I feel like they're really important.
Let's break it down then.
Okay, so I think the first thing you said is to, when you've come out of a previous relationship, is to understand where you were at fault. And for me, I'm really, really, really big on that. Because when a relationship breaks down, it's not necessarily one person's fault. There's never one person's fault, right? There are two parties in it and both parties have been at fault somewhere along the line.
Two to tango.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if there's infidelity, it takes 3 or more.
This guy. Anyway, yes. So I think it's really important to acknowledge the role that you played in the breakdown of your relationship and be at peace with what it is, whatever the role is that you played, because I think that's another thing. Okay, you can acknowledge something, but you have to make peace with that as well to be able to heal and to move on from it. You have to acknowledge the damage that you did and make sure that you're not taking that into your next relationship, because that will only break down the next relationship that you get into. You know, when my marriage broke down, one of the things I did was take a lot of time to self-reflect and think, you know what? How did you get to this point? Okay, these things happened that were outside of your control, fine. But these things were in your control, and what happened with it? Like, I had to find a way to resolve that in myself and make sure that I don't bring that into my new relationship.
Your next relationship.
Yeah, you know, and that was a really difficult journey for me to go on. It's to really look deep inside yourself and admit who you are. It's really tough, and I think some people haven't actually even done that before.
Nope.
Because it takes guts to really look at yourself and say, you know what, this is who I am. And admit that, because sometimes we don't like to look at ourselves. You know, I have this saying where I say it's really good to look at yourself naked, and I don't mean that physically.
No, that's physical
I mean,
too. No.
I mean,
let me elaborate a little bit on that. Listen, some of us get into relationships and let ourselves go. Go look at yourself naked. If you don't like it, fix it, because there's something you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that even brings up. Sometimes that's even a root cause of some of the problems in relationships. You don't take care of yourself. They're not even taking care of themselves. So somebody starts losing interest. If you're a very physical person, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that's the only reason, but you can take that literally too and do something with that. We all about self-improvement over here, all right?
Yeah.
Shit, I could lose. I need to get back right.
I could definitely, and I want to say this as well. Like for me, okay, so I'm very small, right? But I'm not happy with my body, because I feel like you could lose a few pounds around the stomach, but
We have control over that.
we do have some control. I'm also at an age where I'm going to be going into menopause, and so it's affecting parts of my body, and some of that I have to make peace with. Like, this is the body that I have. Some, not all. Some of it is just unnecessary fats.
Some of it is unnecessary bad eating habits.
Yeah,
you know?
some of it is, and some of it is from having
the sugar popcorns that some people like to eat.
and some of it is through having children.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so like I have stretch marks and things like that, and I have to be okay with that to go and to be able to go into my next relationship and be confident in that, because this is what I have to give you. I don't have my 24-year-old body anymore, and I think when you go into your next relationship, a lot of it is going to weigh on how confident you are in yourself, because your partner will love some confidence from you. If you go into a relationship and you're like, oh, I don't like this, I'm scared of this, like it brings the relationship down somehow. You have to be confident with yourself.
Confident in yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
And also be willing to do the work. And I personally feel like even like that is one of the layers that goes into dating after 30s.
Yes.
Right? Because
That's
that's
what I'm
just
saying,
from a woman's perspective. Oh, guys are going for younger girls and so on and so forth. Why are they going for the younger girls? It's because of looks and mindset, right? I believe that those are like two of the many vital things that most guys focus on. It's like, okay, I got a young girl, she's still good, you know what I'm saying? She's nice, she's not like corrupted by all this, desire to want this, whatever. She just wants the simpler things in life, and I can provide that for her. Whereas like you start getting older, you're like, oh, you start getting very picky. I'm not necessarily saying that's wrong, because there's some people who are like okay with fulfilling those needs and those desires, but you got to be very specific, and you got to be very intentional about putting yourself in the right places to find those people who are open to that.
Right, exactly. And that's saying all this is not about body shaming or anything else. It's about being able to feel
Unless
comfortable.
that motivates you, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's about being able to feel comfortable in who you are, like be happy in who you are, because I think that's a big part of it as well, like accepting you for who you are, okay, not just physically but internally as well, like who you are as a person. You have to self-reflect, and you have to think about some of the things that trigger you and work on those things, so you don't bring that baggage into your next relationship. And it's a hard process.
It's not easy.
It is not easy. I don't know what it's like for you, because you've been married before.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to say from a woman's perspective. I cried a lot. I had to make sure all those tears came out first, and then I thought to myself, okay, what can you do better? What did you do wrong? How can you self-improve? So I went through a transformation when I came out of my relationship, where like I cut my hair, I changed my wardrobe. I had to fix some things to make myself feel better. Although it sounds superficial, those things made me feel better internally, and that's what I had to do. But I'm talking about from a woman's perspective. So you as a man, what was that like for you coming out of a relationship and trying to maybe start dating again? What was your process like?
Oh my God, my process was, it was a spiral, you know? It was initially like a downward spiral where it was just like, you know, I went into my previous marriage wholeheartedly. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what I wanted. I thought I found the love of my life. Like, I'm like, yo, let's get to it, you know? Because even I had a certain level of delusion, but I also had a certain level of reality, which was like, okay, the delusion was happily ever after, right? But the reality also was something like, I can actually make happily ever after come to pass. But what I missed was that marriage it takes two to make this thing work.
No matter how
right?
much you want it.
No matter how much you want it, right? And then it, like, you know, my last marriage, I broke it off, right? I was the one who initiated the divorce and everything. And it had just gotten to a point where I no longer wanted to bear that load. You know what I'm saying? I was just kind of like, this is too much. Like, it's gotten to the point where I feel what I'm working so hard for, I won't be around to even witness it. And it's only going to be appreciated once I'm gone. So what is this for? You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point where my family was like, yeah, we'd rather have you alive. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? Let me step away from this. This is the best thing I can do for me and my kids. When I honestly forced myself into marriage, is because of this notion of
Forced yourself
I
into
did,
marriage?
yeah. Like,
Wow, what do you mean by that?
Dang, girl, you wanna go deep?
No.
No, because it was like I did not listen to anybody. Right? Everybody was like, no, you 21. You know, was I even 21? No, I think I was like 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're rushing this. This is not. And I was like, nah, I don't care. I'm a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been taking care of business. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The ego was talking, and I was like, and I led with that, right? I led with my ego. Like, you know, I had been this person who has just been doing so much for myself, by myself. They're like, who are you to come and tell me what I'm doing? I've been doing everything to this point by myself. You know what I'm saying? I can do this too. And yeah, it got to a point where I ran back to those people that's like, nah, bro, you made that bad, you better lay in it, you know? And so I thugged it out for a couple of additional years.
Yeah.
You know, 10 years in total, but it was worth it for the knowledge that I gained. I want to say it wasn't worth it for the innocence that I lost, but come on now, we're grown, so you're eventually gonna have to lose. So all in all, it was worth it. I'm just glad that I got my life to this day. So, that's the biggest aspect.
Do you feel like it made you a better person having gone through that?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Like, man, oh my God, yes. Absolutely. I think I was a good person then, but I've become a much better person. And just understanding the people, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a very humbling, and I don't like using that word, but it's a very humbling process to really go through that and like make it out at the end, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree.
But anyways, enough of that. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how after that fact. I lost my mind for a little bit, but I just said, you know what? I just got to figure this thing out. Like I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know how to trust. I had to like relearn so many things because my marriage changed me. You know, and marriage, I firmly believe marriage is supposed to change you, right? Because now.
Do you believe in the institution of marriage?
Do I? I never really understood, and I still don't wholeheartedly. And I have my own interpretation of this institution of marriage, right? But from what I've gone through, I embrace more the traditional sense of marriage, like an African traditional sense of marriage. Like if I were ever to get married again, it's going to be, all right, this is my family, this is your family, let's get to know each other, this is what we're doing. Ain't no courts, ain't no like you know, you're coming with your assets, I'm coming with my assets. I believe in prenups, like you know what I'm saying. We're gonna secure your assets. We're gonna secure now anything we build moving forward. It's rightfully ours equally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe in now. You know, because that initial institutional marriage just like is tarnished. Like you know what I'm saying. Anything that I ever believed in prior to that. Shit, you lost, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I know because I interjected. Sorry, I have a terrible
No, you good.
Yeah. So what was it like when you first went back out and started dating? How old were you when you started going? You went back into the dating scene. What was it like?
You know, I'll be honest with you. That time frame was such a blur. Like it was that bad. There was a lot of drinking, and that's where I build my 4 livers. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of drinking involved. There was a lot of like. Man, oh my God, like a lot of therapy to get me out of that phase because I didn't have no sense of self anymore. Everything I recall, like it's like, man, my marriage changed me. You know, and marriage, I firmly believe marriage is supposed to change you. Bro, this is a deep ass conversation. The more I'm thinking about it, it's like the emotions are like revving up, you know, because you get into marriage. Right, and for me, this is how marriage changed me. Right, it became me and her against the world. Right, what mattered to us is all that mattered. Right, but then I realized that it got to a point where it's like, what mattered to us was it became like other people were influencing her, where I was still holding on to this initial. So I had gotten to a point where it's like I really isolated myself from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Here I'm living for hours. I mean, I'll go and see my family every now and then, but there was not that, I didn't have that community, you know, because I felt like, it's just me and you. You know what I'm saying? And that was not necessarily the healthiest thing at that point. I didn't know any better. You know, I thought this was what marriage is about, you know? And when you do something like, they say it takes 21 days to build a habit. Like I was doing it, I did this for 10 years. So now you get out, you don't even remember who you were. Like I barely kept journals, so I can't even go reflect on who I used to be. So now I'm like having to completely rediscover, reinvent myself. It was crazy. I didn't know, like, it's like my habits had changed. I didn't even, like, you know, I really enjoyed. There were aspects of marriage that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed coming back home. I really enjoyed having, you know, my woman, like, what? On-demand sex. Like, I come home, it's here. You know what I'm saying? I had my kids. You know what I'm saying? I had my kids. I could run around with my kids. You know what I'm saying? So that was what I had gotten to know. Now I'm in this big home by myself. It's quiet. Nobody's around. It's like, it's too quiet. It's like, this is weird. Like, I gotta do something. I'm finding myself like popping up randomly at people's houses. Like, what's going on, everybody? I'm like, who are you? Like, you know what I mean? See you around. Like, hey, friend. They're like, nah, bro, you ain't been around for a long time. A lot has changed. I'm like, what has changed? And I'm like, I'm looking at people. What we used to do, like, you know, I'm trying to reconnect with people.
You've been in a time machine.
Yeah, you're trying to reconnect with people. Their life also has been going on. They also have changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like now you're like, damn. You get back to this period and state of like isolation. It's like you feel like you got nobody. Yeah. You don't know who can relate. You don't know who you can talk to. You don't know. It's like, fuck it. Let me just go to the strip club. Let me go to this place. Let me go to the club. You're finding yourself in random. So I'm like, I really don't want to be here. Why am I here? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, man. I just found myself roaming the streets sometimes, like on a walk. I'm going on a walk, but it's like I'm trying to think. I'm trying to clear my head because I could no longer be in this house that used to be a home. You know what I'm saying? Ex-wife and kids done packed up, left, and I'm like, I busted my ass to try and get all of this. Now I got all of this. What do I have to show for it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Kids room, randomly going to the kids room, randomly looking at stuff. It's just, it got, I went big depression, like big depression.
No, it's very, very difficult.
So,
and I have to say, I really appreciate you for sharing that because sometimes we don't necessarily hear the man's perspective of what it was like to go through a breakup. Because, you know, a lot of men don't want to talk about what that period was like because it's tough, especially if your kids have left. Yeah. That part, you know, women don't usually see that side. So when I went through mine, I still have my kids with me. Do you know what I mean? So there's some noise, there's some level of distraction. But when it's complete silence,
Man,
that's a whole different beast, you know?
It's a whole different, especially when this is something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? I enjoyed very much being a hands-on father. Like, when I come home, we were going to be like, I could be exhausted, but it's like give me this natural caffeine that these boost that these kids give me.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh nah, like I'm coming home to wrestle you. I could yell at somebody not doing the dishes. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things, and it just excited me as a father because I'm like I get to participate in the upbringing, and here I am now. Just I everything that pushed me to marriage, which was okay, hey, you're pregnant, let me do right by you. I don't want to be a deadbeat. It feels like everything that pushed me to marriage, I've lost everything and I'm back to square one. I should have just started off being a deadbeat then. Then I probably would have been used to that by this point, you know? So it was just like complete, like, man, it was chaotic. It was chaotic. I was going to school. I couldn't focus in school. I was like, it was just like my foundation had completely been ripped from underneath me and I had to figure it out, you know?
So how were you able to then move on to the point at which you were now said that you were ready for dating? And how long did it take you to be ready for dating? And for me, I think when I decided to walk away from my marriage, mentally I had already left 2 years before I actually walked out. So after like he had left, 6 months I was ready to date. I felt ready.
I was never ready to date because I felt like there was still so many loose ends. It took me I would say, like, not saying I didn't date, but it took me, I would say about 5 years to say I was actually ready to date. You know what I'm saying? And this was after like our separation and everything. And I feel like that, to some people it might sound unhealthy, but the healthiest thing that I ever did to regain sense of self, I became a workaholic. Like I became a workaholic. Like I realized that everything. Yeah, some people, you know what I'm saying? Some people do that and get stuck there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I say it's unhealthy. But that's the healthiest thing a man can do. It's like focus. I don't even want to say focus on the bag, but it's like my mindset, and this is I kind of like did this phrase that kept me going. It was just kind of like, if I'm not making money, I'm spending money. Honestly, even if I'm just sitting at home, like the electricity is running, all of this stuff is running. These people are they still got to get paid.
Yeah.
So if you're not making money, so I'm like, you know, at least let me go. If I'm going to work, I'm turning all these lights off. I'm at work and I'm getting paid. I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that became my focus. So it's like every time I was like, So these thoughts of like, all right, if I even want to date, that means I gotta take somebody out. I'm like, this is not exciting. That doesn't excite me. You know, I'm getting paid. Let me go to work. So I became a workaholic for the longest time. Just focus on less. Like, you know what? Getting out of this funk of, because I made some attempts to try and like rekindle this love, or like try and make it work, or like maybe, you know, for the sake of the family, for the sake of the kids, keep it together. And you know, that somebody said to me, like, yo, if you're not good, nobody else around you is going to be good.
Absolutely.
Like, take care of yourself. And I was like, that's when I started looking inward. I started doing journaling. I started going to therapy. And then I'm like, you know, like questions. I'm being asked questions that's making me really think about what is important here.
Yeah.
I start making that list down. I'm like, you know what? Okay, you know what? Now I'm going to be very intentional about moving forward. Like, I'm going to create the life that I want. Now it's no longer like this is the best thing I could have asked for because it's all on me now. Only I can fail me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't say, oh, you know, it was a partnership and you know, the blame is all on me. So if moving forward, at least I still got life.
Yeah.
So it's up to me to fix that. So I just went hard, you know, and then that's when, you know, hey, you start dealing with the other stages of being separated. Now you got to worry about custody battles, all this stuff. But thankfully, I was in a position where I'm like, you know what? I got, you know, I got the bread to be able to pay lawyers and go and you know and make this time because money is honestly time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what finally started getting me into a state where I'm like, you know what? All right, I think I'm ready for this world now.
Yeah.
And I'm getting myself. Yeah, money cured my depression.
So was dating different to you from previously?
Heck yeah. Because now that I had gotten to the state where I worked on myself, I just, like before I was always confident, right? But I was confident, like my where my confidence came from was just being, that was another thing that that took a hit. My confidence took a great hit because
It will.
my pride and joy is my family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got a home, I got a beautiful home. Look at the neighbor, because these are things that superficial things that we're thought to that it meant something. Look where my home is. Look where my look at my kids. Look at the things I mean. Like I still handled business as a man. So that was but now I had everything that to me stood for being a man had been ripped from me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I literally went back to being self-made. Like I had to acquire everything. Start everything from scratch. Like work hard, focus on yourself, like get my body back right, like get my mind back right, And once I started seeing that and feeling that, I was like, you know what? I'm ready to take on the world. Now when I go out in the world and I'm like, seeing people who didn't even go through my hardship, but they look like they've gone through my hardship, and that is my competition out here, I'm like, I'm just cracking up, because I'm like, this what I gotta do with? Girl, come today. Let me show you let me show you a life that you're not used to. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it's like it felt like every woman that I came across, it was the same story. It was just like there's piss in the dating pool. There's this, and I'm like, but some of these women when you start dealing with them,
did you consider yourself a quality man?
Hell yeah, because there were, and some women could even feel that. Because I would get into a situation where it's like I knew that I was in a position where I felt like I could date for whatever reason I wanted to. If it was just for fun, I could say that. I was so confident in myself that I was like, this is what I want to do. If you don't want that, it didn't feel any type of way to lose you or fumble you or whatever the case is, because I'm like, nah, like I don't want to say like I'm not this whole. I'm the prize, but I know my damn worth. It's like I know what I can do. I know my strength. You feel me? Like. Oh, okay, like I could sit there, off rip, like when I start getting serious with somebody, like I'm thinking long term, like, how can I be of benefit to you, whatever the case is. So we're having real in-depth conversations, and they're like, oh shit, like I haven't even thought about that. Nobody's taking this much interest or whatever the case is. Because I'm this serious with life. Yeah. I'm this serious about life. So even if we're not going to be together, but we are involved with each other, what benefit am I to you? I want to be useful to you, and I want you to be useful to me, right? I want to be used, for lack of better words. I don't want to be abused, right? So how can I be of use to you, and how can you be of use to me? Again, it has to be reciprocal. I'm not just here to be of use to you, and that's it. Nah, you ain't gonna siphon off of me. We ain't doing that, So it's like that level of connection. The more I met, and it was just a quality connection that I could give people. Don't get me wrong. There were some people I was just not their cup of tea, and that was cool. I'm gonna shot of Everclear. I'm gonna shock your sister. I'm gonna put some hair in your chest. Like, oh my God, wait a minute. So some people just couldn't bear to be like, the feel. And so, some people never even took the chance to know me. Like, you just come off arrogant. I'm like, what? I've not even said hi to you. Like, what? Who's this person? Like I'm hearing from the grapevine, like this person. My friend didn't like you because who's your friend? I don't even know your friend. How your friend know me? But I didn't care. You can't let those things bother you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think when I decided to go back into the dating scene, it was very difficult for me because I feel like there was a certain quality to date. Well, I use the word dating very loosely because I got married so young. I didn't really experience dating before. Like, I feel like there was a quality that was lost and everything was so fast-paced. And I wasn't getting back what I wanted, like the things that I would look for. And like for me, I'm big on communication. And I was coming across people that just wouldn't communicate. Like all I wanted was someone that just tell me what's on your mind. Tell me and let me be able to do the same for you, right? So like I want to be able to tell you like, this is how I'm feeling. I don't want to be like, I don't like stupid stuff, like, he texts me but I can't respond yet because otherwise it will look too desperate. Like, I hate stupid, stuff like that. I can't deal with that. And I was seeing stuff like that.
That's toxic as behavior, bro. And it's always people who be taking themselves way too seriously, thinking way too highly of themselves. Like, it's good to it's good to think highly of yourself, but be realistic. Like,
exactly. I just don't like stuff like that. Like having to delay. Like there's almost like these set of rules that are out there that are unspoken that you're supposed to follow so that you can be in line with everything. And I'm just like,
I go against the grain.
Me too, because I'm just like, nah. Like if I like you, I want to just tell you, you know what? Yeah, I like you. I don't want us to beat around the bush.
Fucking on the first day, we fucking on the first day. You know what I'm saying? We're grown adults here, right? But are we being clean, safe, and drama-free about this? I'm not gonna be clapping your cheeks, and then next thing I know, your baby daddy's pulling up in the like. Wait a minute, how we getting? Because I'm strapped. Somebody's getting dead tonight. But anyway,
Oh
sorry.
my gosh. It's trauma, it's trauma.
I'm just saying, we are adults, especially after 30, especially like, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
the rules
be grown.
don't apply. You know what applies?
Exactly.
Adulthood applies.
Yes.
Right? Can we talk about these things? Can we iron these things out like as adults and not have some superficial ass like standards?
I just think it's ridiculous, and it's just a waste of time, like pretending that you don't like someone just because there's this whole chase thing that's supposed to happen.
That's how a lot of people lose what is meant for them. Yeah. I believe that's how a lot of women lose what's meant for them.
You know, there was something really interesting that someone said to me. They were like, the older she gets, the harder it is for her to date because she has this list of requirements that she feels that she wants from a man. And the older she gets, she's getting more stuck in her ways, and things are changing so much that now she's finding it very hard to find a man. And I listened to that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really frightening to me, because it can so happen. You know, they say the older you get, the more stuck in your ways that you get, and your list of requirements. Like, can you demand these things from someone as you age? Do you have a right to ask for these things?
I say yes, but, right, you have to. It's like, who's your competition? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where Kevin Samuel comes in, right? Some of y'all don't like this, but this is where he said, like, Adam personally, he ain't my favorite person, but he be spitting facts, right? Who's your competition? Right. Who are you competing with out here? Because what you want, thousands of other women to one.
Yeah, because I can say.
Who in your midst, right? And sometimes I even say, just look in your immediate circle, right? Actually has a better chance of landing there than you. Some of these women want all these things, but they're not. But I've seen some women who are well in their 60s and they look good. They're actually kicking the butts of some of these 30, 20-year-olds out here. And they could get them a run for their money. You know what I'm saying? They could come out here and they could have those standards and whatever the case is. For, you know what I'm saying? For a quality guy. But it's also what you bring, though. It's like you can't just be this person and just speak into the air and things is gonna fall in your lap. Yeah. It's a competition out here. And you gotta. And when I say gym, I'm using that figuratively. I'm not saying. I mean, you can do that physically too, but it's like figuratively, you got to compete. You got to work it out. You got to work out your mentality. You got to work out your physical body, like all of this stuff. You know, your communication skills, all these things. You know,
absolutely true.
And you got to be completely honest with yourself. The caliber of man that you want. You know, some people want these men who
realistic. Just be realistic. Because I could say, okay, like I'm divorced, I've got 4 children, and I could say, I want a guy that's never had children before, never been married before. What's the chances of me getting someone like that?
It's possible, but it's
possible, very slim.
But it's like now you got to. It could be some. It could be a felon who has changed his life around. And, you know what I'm saying?
He's gonna willing to take you like that.
He's willing to take you like that, but you probably gonna have to carry the brunt of a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or it could very much be, I don't know, a billionaire amputee or something who's lost a little part of his life. But you know what I'm saying? He knows he can't bear kids, but he wants to take care of somebody. These are really extreme. They're really extreme. I'm just, that's me. I'm dramatic like that. But it's very possible, right? Somebody, like, hey, they lost the lower half of their body. They got all the settlement.
The compromise.
They want somebody to love them.
You won't get exactly what you want. I feel like the older you get, sometimes your list that you had, this checklist for this man that you wanted, you have to cross some things off the older you get, because you're not gonna get that anymore. As you said, the competition is high. And
I don't want to say necessarily cross it off. You know what? Let's put it like this: create that list, and then when you're done creating that list, go out there in the real world and come back and reevaluate that list once you're out in the real world. Because think about the places that you have. Create a list. The next 30 days, go out to places that you think you're gonna find these people at, and see how attractive you are to them, right? And I'm not just saying, like, because we all don't want to chase, right? We want to be attractive, right? We want, who am I attracting? So when you create this list and you see what you're attracting, come over there and reevaluate that list, and you see that some things ain't matching. Then you can go ahead and cross.
It's very true. You know, like a basic thing is like if you have Instagram, right? Look at the guys that are in your DM, and and see what you're actually attracting. Because one thing I've realized, I know this is a very silly
But even
example.
Instagram's not a real place.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a very silly example, but sometimes, like when I go out to the club, right, I look and I see the kind of, like when women are in the club, right, and I see the kind of men that approach them, and they approach them in a certain way, and I'm like, there's an energy that women give off sometimes that will attract a particular type of man.
Absolutely.
And I'm very, very clued up with stuff like that, and I'm very conscious of it. When I'm in the club, like I make known to you that I'm not interested. Like I put on a certain persona. I'm like here to just enjoy myself, have fun, because I don't want that kind of man. I know what kind of man I want. I'm just here to just enjoy. I don't want that. And I think that's another thing that we need to know how to do, how to attract a particular type of man that we want, because sometimes we say we want this high caliber man, and then our attitudes and some of the things that we
It's
do,
not attractive
but
to them.
it's not.
That's not what they want.
Exactly.
You might have something that you want, but does that thing want you?
Exactly. And you know, there's something you said to me recently. You said to me that, what did you say? You said something
I'm
like,
talking.
yeah, he does, he talks a lot. You said something like, just because every man is chasing that doesn't mean that that's what he wants. Mm-hmm. And you know what, I sat with that. You know, you hear these things and you think, oh yeah, I know that already. But sometimes someone says something and it sits with you and you're like, man, you ponder it. And I pondered on what you said.
What I said was, just because, it was along the lines of, okay, I'm going to give the context because I can't remember how I said it, right? But it was saying, basically I was saying, just because they want you doesn't mean they want you for what you want, like basically you want to be wanted for, right?
Yeah.
Some people just are chasing you to just because they're lusting for you. They want to sleep with you.
Yeah.
That's like, I would say like, dang near like 99.99% of men are chasing you because they want to sleep with you, right? But it's not, because that is part, to some people that is all. To some people it's part. Like to everybody it's part, right? Because if I'm going to be with you, I'm gonna want to sleep with you eventually anyway. It might not be the same night, it might not be what, but eventually I'm gonna want to sleep with you. You get what I'm saying? But then there's some people, that's the only thing they want. They only want to sleep with you. Some of those people, they could be very clear and concise. Some people, they could be very dubious about it, right?
Yeah.
They'll go all the other end because they know that, like, Charlie, this woman, she's going to give me a hard time. Let me tell her what she want to hear, because most women, that's all it is. And when they see that they can't play around with you, guess what? They're gonna hop on to the next person and try their hands. That's what most men do.
I almost feel like we should do an episode where we talk about some of these things, because these are very real issues. Like we're talking about, you know, how men perceive women, how women even perceive men, and all of that, you know. And I think like that's another.
Absolutely.
We'll have to talk about that another time.
I'm
And also, I would really like to talk about how society has changed and how there are different ways to do relationships now. Because honestly, relationships can be whatever you want, and I feel like we've been put into a box where this is how relationships should be, and that's the only thing that people register. And sometimes that may not work for you. Maybe you want something else, and I think that it's healthy to have these discussions. Like on this podcast, I really don't want it to be just another podcast, right? I want us to talk about real issues.
Real partnerships.
Yeah,
real life long partnerships.
Yes, because that's what I believe in.
Yeah, because sometimes even like just because people are married, like I know people who've been married 60 years plus doesn't mean they're happy.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean what they started off with, how they started off with stuff. They some people just stay together to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Or to keep up appearances. Or to, you know what I'm saying? Like that long-term marriage does not mean a quality marriage.
Exactly.
Or rather, a quality union.
Yeah.
Right? Because I guess that's what marriage is. It's together, right? But a union, a life partnership, like a place where happiness resides or excitement resides, or all of these things, is what people want to focus on. But I guess they don't know how to title it or how to attach a label to it to make it sound legitimate. You know
exactly, because I'm really big on life partnership and finding that person that is for you. And however that works for you, like it's not about what other people think, it's about how it works for you. Because like you said, so many people are married and are not happy, but find a way to make it.
And some of them are finding a way. They're just not open and
And
kudos to them because it's their business. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to them. There's some people who are doing a lot out here, a lot of funny business. Some people are looking like, hey. So
we see some things.
Yeah, we see some things, we hear some things, we know some things. But hey, kudos to them because they found their hack. They found what works for them.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
That's what it's about.
I think I really just don't like this box that society puts you in sometimes. And I think a lot of us have gone into this box, and that's why we've become so traumatized, and we've had relationships that haven't worked because we've been told you finish school,
you try to finish somebody else's
university,
box.
and then you go, you get married, you get your mortgage, you have your children, and there's like this path that you're told that you should follow, and that doesn't necessarily work, especially today. It just doesn't, and I think we need to talk about and be more open about these things.
And I think so because so that people don't feel so alienated, right? When an opportunity is presented to them to still experience a certain level of love, right, without losing anything, right? So that they don't be like, oh, no, this is unusual. Like, my friends are not gonna approve. My family's not gonna approve. But your friends and family ain't the one about to do this relationship with you. You know what I'm saying? You might even find yourself in a position where you go to your family for help and advice. They're gonna be like, we don't know what this is about. You gotta figure this out. This is what marriage is about.
Yeah.
Again, you know, like we're adults. Let's do adult things and take on. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us are still operating on a level of like we think we're in our 20s or whatever. Some of us, you know, are fortunate enough where our parents are still alive, so we still feel like kids. But we don't realize that, like, no, it's time for us to live our lives and dictate our own lives, right? We are the creators of our own reality, so let's step up to the plate and really embrace that.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. In all aspects, man. Relationships, life, all of that.
Absolutely,
I agree.
Yeah, so I think we kind of touched on the subject, but I feel like we
looked up on so many things. Every time we start talking, we just be gone.
I know.
There's more to love. Rants.
More to love, man. I'm
we
telling
be
you.
ranting on the more to love.
We do, but yeah.
I think it all works out.
Yeah. I need to stop looking at you people who think something.
Hey,
let me just face the camera, face forward like this. And
what do they think?
Huh?
That friends have such chemistry.
Do we have chemistry?
We have chemistry.
Yeah.
Chemical balance.
Yeah, some it is.
Sometimes it doesn't balance though. Sometimes you annoy me.
Yeah, I annoy him sometimes. But he likes it.
Hey. Say what you were saying earlier.
What?
Oh, do I have to find it?
I don't say anything earlier.
Stay tuned for the bloopers.
Oh. Oh gosh. Anyway, that's the end of today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer some of those, and so will he. He's got to do some work too. It's not all on me. So if you haven't already,
with the landings.
if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
What was it that you said? What was it that you bad on?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not good.
It's okay, I'm about to get ready to post it.
You want to bring me down all the time?
No, never that. I want to bring you up. I want to elevate you. Because guess what? One mistake, 2 lashes.